Rochester, New York is home of the Strong National Museum of Play. It is a huge museum full of toys and games. It's home of the National Toy Hall of Fame and a whole lot more. I was invited in, and I'm filming with permission to show you not only what it looks like on the ground floor, but I'm going to take you on a behind-the-scenes tour to their curating room, their archiving room, and a whole lot more too. Buckle up, it's going to get awesome. Now, this is just a small shelf in the curating room. This is for testing, this is for playing, this is for archiving. This is just to see if games work. They capture footage for it for their YouTube channel and for archiving purposes. The little boxes up there too are donated educational computer games, they said. And there's just so much to see. Now, this is just a small corner. The rest of it, you know the ending scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark? It's a lot like that. But this is just a sneak preview so far of what you're about to get into. And you just find, little things on the shelf too. Famicom games, boxed. You see some Virtual Boy games in there. Is that Neo Geo Pocket I see? Probably. They have everything here. It is an assault on the senses, and I can't thank them enough for inviting us to take a quick behind-the-scenes tour. Now you see some more shelves full of monitors, TVs, different computers. Well, different machines require, different games require different machines to use. So they're going to make sure they have some of each for such said purpose. This is all part of the curating room here. You can start seeing some more consoles there. The Beast, the 5200. I'm also joined by Nintendo as well as my friend Ken. Now this down here, and you don't see it in the little box, but that's where there's an actual gun that was used in the prototype for making the light gun for that system, an actual military used gun. Not just, they have arcade machines too, pinball as well. This is the Flintstones pinball machine. Very creative. Only about 500 of these exist. They only made about 500 of these machines. This is one of them. It's cool because it has the paddles inverted. They're like clubs. Now this was not working, and this is a beast of a pinball machine. It's not the biggest one though. The biggest one is probably Hercules, and you'll see that later on in this video. They also have classic pinball as well. Like I said, just aisles and aisles of different machines, arcades, pinballs, and this is just one of the several aisles they had. Full of them. Yeah, it is an assault on the senses to be in a place like this. It's like there's just so much information to take in. Got the OG. Is that Cosmic Arc? Is that what you call that game? And again, as always, if you see anything in the video that I missed when I'm talking about it, leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you too, because maybe you know some of this stuff too. Just some random imports there sitting on the shelf. Got the Jaws arcade machine here. That's cool. Now, these cabinets are full of gold to me. This is like paper gold here. These are drawings, illustrations, schematics. These are invoices for a lot of arcade machines and print ads and a whole lot more too. Like these were the actual, drawings or hand-drawn or, issues of for use in a lot of machines. It's just drawers and drawers full of things like this. Now, the Strong Museum of Play has released a book using some of their own archiving, but I'd love to see a book on just this kind of stuff. I love stuff like this. It's super, super fascinating to me. Like I said, these are just, this is what they had to work with, especially back in, late 70s, early 80s. You couldn't just send an email. You couldn't just, use a PowerPoint. Like, there's the invoice, or that's like the, instructions or whatever that is. And then here's kind of the ransom note version of what was printed off to become, the official article. That's how they did things back in the day. It's all you could do. Isn't that crazy? How time flies where it is now, but, all it takes is, an email getting lost. You don't have it anymore. Oh, you got this, though. This is for the game iRobot, apparently. Yeah, how you make the marquee and all that. Sure. We didn't go through every single drawer, of course, but still fascinating to see. And cool to see stuff like this, too. Maybe you saw this in a hospital back in your youth. And then just also on random shelves, more random stuff. I mean, it's so cool to get lost in a place like this. There's just something fascinating every square inch of this area here. You see Nintendo scoping out the Game Boy kiosk. No reason why not. You turn around, more peripherals, more machines. It would be complete without Rock Band, of course. And even just like, random things put on top of other boxes too. Let's see what this is. No, nothing in it. All right, I'll put it back. Here's some illustrations from somebody who made a lot of like PC cover art. And maybe you know the name, and maybe you can tell me who that was. But then we also have a shadow box that has the internal organs of a Game Boy Advance SP. All right. Random Vectrex sighting. I promise you it's not going to be the last Vectrex sighting in this video. That's for sure. And along with, like I said, it's the Museum of Play. So not only do they have video games, electronic games, they have toys too. And just rows and rows of toys, board games as well. I'm going to focus mostly on the video games in this episode, but you will see board games as well as some classic toys just kind of scattered in throughout as well. Hey, even some DVDs, why not? That sure does not fit me, by the way. I looked at the size. It was for youth. Games like Zektor, never heard of it, ever. I'm sure I'd like it though. Got the Fairchild, the Channel F. Got an Odyssey in there, another U-Force, even a boxed Famicom. Oh, what do we find here? Look at this. I love finding stuff like this too. This is the kind of like the Ridge Racer controller. It's it's like a little steering wheel on there. I remember those from Taito back in the day. Maybe they made it for Chase HQ. That would make sense, I suppose. Clean box on that Famicom. Yeah, got the Mario statue. Yep. This is a little museum in and of itself. Here's just a rack of a rack of Nintendo stuff. More arcade machines as well. In fact, this one here, from Sega, the punching bag one, this is Sega's first arcade machine. Fascinating. There's also some other classic arcade machines over here. Atomic Bomber. They thought it was a good idea to make a game called Atomic Bomber back in the day, during the war times. All right. And all the funding machines like this too, just stuff you don't see anymore. Here's a lot of more pinball too, and on the floor, on the museum floor itself that everybody can attend, there are tons of working arcade machines and pinball machines too. Everything only costs a token. Everything only costs 20 cents because you get 5 tokens per dollar. It's worth the price of admission alone just to hang out there for the day, Like I said, just rows and rows of arcade machines. It never ends. Then you see like toys like this, That is fascinating. There's a game called Red Baron. Interesting to see Time Traveler here. Here's the Star Wars Battle Pod. Remember I was talking about the largest pinball machine? Here it is. Hercules. Now this looks like a beast just standing here. But compared to Nintendo, look how big that thing is. He could sleep on that. Isn't that crazy? We're going to power up Time Traveler here. Because if you're not familiar with Time Traveler,
it's a trip.
This is something you should totally
it's a trip.
see.
You play it once, you're good.
You're like, it's the experience.
It's kind of like a Dragon Ball thing, right? Where there's different animations that trigger.
Wonk.
I
Good RAM.
Once you learn it and played it, you know what to do for the next
Good RAM.
track that comes up.
Yeah. I mean, even for its time, especially, but even now.
It's the gameplay similar to like Dragon's like
Correct. It's track based.
Yeah,
Once
good
you learn what you
Here
need
comes the time
to
tester.
track switches,
Yes.
it's easy to solve.
Oh, yeah.
We're always looking for the topper. So there's a topper that goes up here.
Okay.
You guys ever see
So if
one?
anyone has a topper,
Shannon Mill.
all right. If there's a topper, it's straight to the Strong Museum.
That's right.
All right. Yep. It's getting somewhere. It's coming there.
Some of the cheesiest acting I've ever seen.
No, I love it. Nothing cheesy about it.
Greetings. I am Kyla, Princess of the Galactic Federation. I've journeyed through time to find you. We need your help. This is Volk,
Laserdisc, I think,
a
right?
renegade scientist whose forbidden experiments have created a time disruptor that threatened to ram the very
Now, you may kind of laugh,
Right.
but as
Almost like the
cheesy as
3DS
this kind of
and
is, for its time, this was mind-blowing. It's like it's a real person. It plays like Dragon's Lair. It's time events. You just have to hit the button at the right time.
It's all right. We don't need to play it. We don't need to play it.
Insert 1.9%.
All right.
Oh, got Tempest. Let's check out the knob. There we go. That's how it's supposed to spin. Discs of Tron, another great game. Got wardrobe. Yeah, more toys. Cool to see. There is a Jim Henson exhibit, Sesame Street specific, upstairs as well, and you'll see that coming up here pretty soon. And again, just rows and rows of non-stop awesomeness. Even got toys from Japan, the old metal molded, Godzilla. You're into board games? Well, talk about your family game night. How about family game year and a half? And these, all these aisles have more and more stuff on them. Got the Box Master System up there. More toys. Yeah, it works just like that. Oh, see, remember that box earlier? Those figurines were in those. Those are really hard to find too. When you do find them at conventions, they go for a lot. For some reason, I don't have any of them. Got the box to the Sharp Twin. Love the box on that. Got a Japanese Super Scope 6. This is kind of the import aisle if you haven't figured that out yet. Various imports. Some gold games there. Gold Famicom. Super Famicom, rather. Oh, Top Rider. This is a Famicom game that came with a inflatable motorcycle that you sit on while playing it. It's available for the Famicom. Check out Game Dave's video on that if you haven't seen it yet. Yeah, that's what their light gun looked like. Looked like an actual pistol. Got a boxed PCFX. Of course they do. Got the Duo RX? Of course they do. PC Engine? Of course they do. Even have the keyboard. This is for the Famicom. And that game specifically, the Do-Re-Mi. That looks cool. And don't mind me, I'm just start rearranging furniture here. Look at this thing. Wow. As well as Excite Boxing, right? And I'm admittedly probably not supposed to touch this stuff, but when it's right there, I just gotta check it out. But fortunately, one of the people that was there to help me out. And this is Exciting Boxing. It came with an inflatable boxing buddy that you play, that you basically box for the video game part of it. And if you're wondering about those long boxes they have there, of course they're full of boxed Super Famicom games, because of course there are. So many of them. All of those boxes are filled. How'd you like to have this in your collection, huh? This is interesting to see too. This is a kind of a promotional boxed Lucky Dime Caper for the Sega Master System. Something you don't see every day. In fact, I didn't even know this existed until I was here to see this. And this is Shannon. Shannon's one of the people there at the museum. She was able to show us around, give us some more insight. A world of knowledge. So happy that Shannon was there to help us out. And here she finds another little case. What do you think's inside? Could be anything. Da 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 da. As a special edition white Game Gear with the white TV receiver. I've seen white Game Gears. Never seen the white TV receiver though. Very cool. And here's more drawers. These are full of like board games. Like I guess it'd be classified as board games, but from like the late 1800s to early 1900s. We're talking old board games here. And even these little games, like the little marble type games. This is what they had, man. This is the original Game Boy. This is the original portable handheld. Very cool to see them all, aligned like this too. Not for touching though. it was still very cool to see. And again, just rows and rows. Oh, and here we have a random portrait of Abraham Lincoln. This is a puzzle. If you're curious why there's a picture of Abe Lincoln in a random drawer. There's another shelf just has some random toys on it. If you see any toys that you remember, any toys that you know, let me know in the comments. There's a lot going on here. It's almost too much to take in all at once. See a prop cycle back there. You don't see a prop cycle too often. I'm getting some more footage here. Oh, these things are just glorious. Look at this. Isn't that crazy? That karate game especially. Just love the artwork on these. That karate game, I really want to play. It was non-operable when we were here, but I'd love to see that game sometime in the near future. And then here's this is their fixer-upper room. See, different bits, tools. Something's not working properly. Comes in here. They get it working again. Now that concludes the tour of the behind the scenes, but let me show you a little bit what it's like on the actual floor that anybody can attend. See if I can play Bubble Bobble on this thing.
The Bubble Bobble thing. No, I'm pretty sure I can do Bubble Bobble on this. I lost it.
That's close enough for me anyway. Got this little dance hall here. Plays music. Which guy do you think's doing the floss? I'll give you two guesses. The first one doesn't count. Little Orange Justice for you? Sure. It's just... Oh, we're just being goofballs. I love this place. They had a little mission to Mars simulation here too that Ken and I decided to take on by ourselves here. These are just quick little interactive experiences. Not really a video game, so to speak. I mean, it tells you what to do, and there's no way you can, lose. There is no game over on these. You just push the buttons and do what it tells you to do. Guides you in the right direction. Still fun to play as. Like I said, I'm a huge, I'm a huge fan of space and exploration and all that. So.
Got 2 minutes to launch.
Cool to go through this. They have a lot of these. They have a lot of these displays set up around the museum as well, like timelines, if you will. Like here's jarts that they don't make anymore for obvious. You're throwing live metallic darts on the lawn's reasons. Too many lost toes, perhaps. You got a computer here. And you're going to see a lot of just random video games in random corners, too. A lot of Nintendo systems, a lot of Ataris. That Chuck E. Cheese in the background there? Yeah, why not? We saw one of those downstairs, right? Maybe we saw the green one. And here's the arcade area. Like I said, every game costs 20 cents. You get 5 tokens for $1. That money goes straight back into the museum. So if you ever want to play any of these games, and again, you can check out the displays, the kiosks. There's a timeline of video games here as well. I used to have one of those. In fact, I still do. You pop in a yen or a quarter and it'll work. Here's some of the more educational things. That one you couldn't play, but these ones you can, or the other ones you can. Oh, those Pac-Man plushies, the little ghosts there. Never seen those before. And it all started with Pong. You got the wizard probably playing on repeat in this area. It's cool to see these too. It's cool to see, and these are playable. I mean, the ones behind the glass are not, but you can play Super Mario 64. You know, you can check out this this Commodore. This is an Apple II. Sorry. Like I said, just too much stuff to take in all at once. So much to see. You know, find some random Nintendo World Championship cart just laying around. It's not showcased or anything. It's not spotlights. There's no sign or anything. Just, yeah, there it is. Just sitting in a shelf. For everyone to see. You got Tetris there. Onto the Genesis, or Mega Drive as it's known in some countries. Got a Virtual Boy in there too. Got the Pikachu Edition 64. Cool to see that. And onto PlayStation and beyond, even with all the way up to the Switch. I mean, they stay up to date. They stay really up to date at this museum. See, then when you go to the other side, you know, that's when it starts with like Pong and whatnot too. So you got Pong, you got the, you know, earlier systems, and then moving on to the Atari 2600. The Atari was not the first. There was systems before that. The Atari was the first one I grew up with anyway. Random Candy Crush sighting. Get out of here with that. There's another Vector X. Like I said, it wouldn't be the last, right? Got the Famicom along with the disk system, the Coleco tabletops. That's always cool too. Here you have games from the actual archaeological dig from New Mexico. Some of the games there preserved. It's cool to see. That's how awesome is that. This is the arcade section. You can play whatever you want. You got one of those, you know. Nice variety too, nice selection. The real Ghostbusters, what a great game. And whenever I see a Pac-Man machine, I always check the left side panel for wear, right there. Because you traditionally played it right-handed, and then when you're bracing yourself standing still, like because you're standing up the whole time, you naturally grab the side of the machine with your left hand. So all that wear, it's like a lot of Pokemon Yellow cards are like that because of all the times you pop them out with your thumb by pressing on the label itself. I just think it's it's part of history. It's very well used. How about that? And we have another timeline. This is like a timeline of board games. See any board games you recognize? Any of them that you grew up with? SpongeBob cracks me up. How old is this? Look at this chess set. Looks glorious. That's a great game. I remember my brother had that when I was growing up. Didn't know how to play it, but I just thought it looked cool and sounded cool. Had an electronic element to it. Yeah, we got a Legend of Zelda board game up there. There we go. You can kind of tell that the people who put this museum together have a love for video games, and it shows. This is a cool looking game too. Would have liked to have played that, but it wasn't playable. But they have it on display. They can just see what there are, and here's a little selfie station here. This is the table for, or was it Tennis for Two? Tennis for Two. It's a simulation of Tennis for Two. Kind of the original, what spawned into video games. We have a Ralph Baer's actual vest and a little workstation there. Isn't that cool? It's another part of history. Is there? This thing tripped me out way more than it should have. It's like I've seen it before, like on on the internet. I've seen it before in other videos, but when I saw it for myself, I was still tripped out by it. And this is the pinball area. You can play these pinball machines, same as before. 5 tokens for $1. They had Black Knight 2000, if you're wondering. Maybe they just had Black Knight, one of the two. They had a bunch of new ones from Stern, as well as some of the older ones too. Good selection though. It also has a little history of pinball, dating all the way back to like whatever that is, to the evolution of kind of what we know today anyway. And then he's even some drawings here. Imagine like sketching those without CAD or anything, just putting them together yourself, and then leave it to Nintendo to find video pinball. There's real pinball right behind you. He's playing video pinball. All right, well, I like video pinball too, I guess. Here's the Stern area too. A lot of great games from Stern. That's just flashing lights and a lot to take in. Video game aside, they also have an area for like superheroes, Marvel, DC, and more. They have little display cases on the side there, little spots to take selfies, little spots to take pictures too. I'm a fan, so cool to see. And like I said, it's also the National Hall of Fame, the Toy Hall of Fame. So they have a lot of toy emphasis here too. Now here's Nintendo actually manipulating this giant Mr. Potato Head. Pushes a button, something happens. See if we can put that lazy eye back to work here. Jesus, it's an information overload. My kids would love it here. Here's like an Etch-a-Sketch type area that will draw your picture. Now I'm sitting on the left, and my buddy Ken's sitting on the right. So we're just sitting there, and it's drawing us. All right. Thanks. Hey, look at that. More video games. Why not? And this. Now this is a must play. This is the giant. You can play Super Mario Brothers with this giant controller. Now the controller has severe lag to it. So when I die, it is definitely one of those like, stupid controller. Because the controller is too big. It's hard to manipulate. But still had fun with it. It was still cool to see that you could indeed play Super Mario Brothers on this giant controller. Tetris might be more my speed for something like this with this giant controller here. Definitely a photo opportunity, if anything. Wrong way. Yeah, well, there you go. I'm done. Even got a little Final Fantasy shrine. And this arcade game was so cool to see. I wanted to show this to you because this blew our minds. On the 4th level, it shows a cup, and when you shoot, this is a light gun game. You shoot the targets, they fall down. The real targets moving back and forth. That. We freaked out the first time we saw that. We actually had to do the slow motion video. If you want to see how it's done, if you don't want to see how it's done, look away right now. If you want to see how it's done, there you go. All right, so a big thank you to both Shannon and Shane for allowing us to film the Strong Museum of Play, and big thanks to Ken and Nintendo for joining me as well. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and this museum is open courtesy of your patronage, so make sure you swing by if you can, or you can also donate online. Thank you for watching, and big ups to anyone preserving video game history. It was a blast to be here. I can't wait to visit again. Thanks for watching, and more videos are always on the way. Make sure you're subscribed, all right? We'll see ya.
I haven't seen one. Oh, I like this one too. You ever see these? The Nintendo Super System.
Yeah.
It's like a player choice, but it has this Super Nintendo controller that you just kind of...
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So if you're too tall, you're screwed.
Yes. But it has like... They usually have... Okay, so it has Super Tennis in it.
Keep those selected.
Yeah. So, switch it over. You got Super Tennis. Super Mario.
Oh, that's pretty. Was that in the U.S.?
Yeah.